Good morning and welcome to Friday's Trending. Just me today. As per usual, the show is brought to you in association with Iconic Coffee. Head over to shop.iconic.com and use the code TRENDING for 10% off. Let's dive into the stories for today. Hopefully we can end on something a bit more light-hearted. UK and EU to hold talks with Iran as Trump sets 2-week window over Middle East conflict. 2-week window until he decides whether the US are going to get involved. I mean, he's lording it over the whole situation, isn't he? But what I think people aren't kind of cottoning on, the decision can come anytime within those 2 weeks. So what a strange situation. I think he's loving the power he has over Netanyahu, although as many of us believe that Netanyahu is really pulling the strings here and those above those lot are pulling all of their strings. It doesn't seem to be working out well. I think Netanyahu was doing a press conference yesterday looking rather ill and worried, and a building collapsed behind him, making him jump. Well, at least he's not in Athens anymore, I suppose. So 2 weeks before Trump, the Messiah, decides whether US is going to get involved. Obviously, the general consensus of the civilian population of the United States do not want to get involved in this madness at all. It's not going to end well for anyone if this escalates. And as we've seen, it's escalating every day since Israel started this. I think it's for 30 years now. And there's a video been put out, I think it's CNN that put this video out of Netanyahu and many others, well, Netanyahu, I think in this specific case, saying over and over again that Iran's close to having nuclear missiles when this has been going on for 30 plus years. So it comes after the White House says Donald Trump will decide in the next 2 weeks whether the US will join strikes on Iran. Trump has delayed making a decision and he thinks there's a substantial chance of talks, according to his press secretary. But then on the other hand, you're getting the information that he's saying we're well past talks now. So it's a whole mixed bag. It's chaos, waiting for the order of what they're going to do. This is purposely done. Who's putting the strings at the top? Well, it's definitely not these politicians at all. Our chief North American correspondent says this opens the window to diplomacy. It also opens the window of 2 weeks of mayhem and chaos in Iran and Israel and America as well, not knowing what's going on. So this is where they're at with this, and it's insane. And as you've been watching over the last 7 days, it's getting worse and worse. And this was really interesting. Now, a lot of the information that we've come up with and we looked into is that Putin is involved with these Chabad guys as well. But it seems for now, maybe, let's hope on to the last bit of hope that he's maybe dismissing them. I haven't got much hope on it, but let's have a look at this. So he says, and he comes out in a press conference yesterday, that they have around about 250 members of scientists, members of staff at their Bashir nuclear power plant. So it's the Russian and Iranian collaboration. I think it's the Russians that are providing the power for this power plant there. And this location is 12 kilometers south of Bashir. So they have 250 workers there, the Russians. And he said there's people coming and going and diplomats. So around about 600 people there. And he says quite sternly, Putin, that we have no intention of moving those people out. So an attack on that nuclear plant would be an attack on Russia, obviously, because it's a collaboration.
And speaking on Iran-Russia collaboration on the Bushehr nuclear power plant, Putin pointed out that over 200 Russian workers are currently employed at the plant in southern Iran that is built by Russia's Rosatom.
Our specialists are working in Bushehr. There are 250 people plus those on business trips. The total number can reach 600, and we are not leaving. Is that not support? Well, Iran hasn't asked us for any other support.
The Bushehr nuclear power plant is Iran's first commercial nuclear reactor and is a product of collaboration between Russia and Iran. Located near the city of Bushehr in southern Iran, the plant currently has one operational reactor with 2 more reactors planned for the future. Russia provides the nuclear fuel for the Bushehr plant. The growing concern over the Israel-Iran escalation has raised an important question as well. Will Moscow be dragged into the war in an effort to safeguard its people and interests in Iran?
So, you know, these things will get very, very complicated, and then you can't kind of just understand from this far away. Thank God we're this far away for now. That what's going on in terms of that. So they have a stronghold in there, Russia, and a deterrent from Israel actually deciding that they want to bomb this place, which could cause masses and masses of issues in Iran. But it has attachments to Russia, which is really, really good in terms of what we're seeing here. Can we trust Putin? No. Can we trust Trump? No. Can we trust Netanyahu? Great name. Netanyahu? No. Obviously, we can't trust any of these guys at all. So, you know, although that looks great on the surface, we'll see how that plays out. Interesting times, scary times as well. So you've got these three main players here messing around with all this stuff, and it's disturbing. But that power plant has a Russian connection, which I think is in itself interesting. And although that may be a bit of theatre in terms of him saying we're not getting our people out and that, what we need to kind of take into account is that they need to still sell it to the public that what they're saying is true, whether it's true or not. Trump's just lost 90% of his base because although we all knew, well, most of us knew that he was lying every time he opens his mouth, that now he's got to the point where he can no longer pretend he's not lying. He's just got to prove us right. Therefore, he's losing a lot of his base. I've seen posts this morning saying that he hadn't started a war. Well, that's totally ridiculous. Of course he has. He sent $4 billion to Israeli military in March of this year via Mark Rubio. Of course he has. Even part of his cabinet have coming out, I think it was Ted Cruz the other day, saying that we're not bombing Iran, but we are funding the bombing of Iran. What's the difference, Ted? It's totally ridiculous. So, of course, they're involved. The cognitive dissonance to Trump supporters is now fading away, other than the real ardent ones that have bought and built up their own infrastructure and their own business around supporting him. They're going to have to stick to the very end, but it's not looking good for them. So let's just move on here now to AI. Now, while everybody's looking to Iran and Israel, there's several things that we're missing. Obviously, Gaza is going under the radar now, which is absolutely horrific. It was only last month that Israel bombed a hospital there. Now they're crying that it's happened to them. Either way round is absolutely awful. But come on, let's have some common sense here. So one of the other things that we're missing out on is the rollout of artificial intelligence. We're looking the other way, and this is speeding up. Past the event horizon, OpenAI's Sam Altman says so. New AI research backs him up. Last week, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman wrote on his personal blog that we are past the event horizon. The takeoff has started. Humanity is close to building a digital superintelligence, and at least so far as it's much less weird than it sounds like it should be. It's not less weird, mate. It's just less weird to you. He went on to say that 2026 would be the year that we will likely see the arrival of systems that can figure out novel insights. 2027 may see the arrival of robots that can do tasks in the real world. So he kind of lays this foundation that it can think for itself in terms of teaching itself new ways of doing things and then physically act them out in the real world. I would say that that's the narrative is far more important to sell than the actual reality of that. Altman's blog created a buzz on social media, with many speculating about what new development had caused Altman to write those words, and others accusing Altman of shameless hype. In AI circles, takeoff is a term of art. It refers to the moment AI begins to self-improve, and then people debate about a slow takeoff, a fast takeoff, but self-improve means it's just learning on its own, obviously. But what they're doing, what this really means is kind of slightly more complicated than that. It means that the scientists, lunatics, behind this are using AI to learn about AI and how much it can do, if that makes sense. So in the blog, Altman made it clear that he was not yet talking about completely automated self-improvement. So people, humans, are still involved at this stage. Rather, he was talking about AI researchers using AI to help them develop yet more capable AI. So yeah, you're kind of squeezing the human out of that cybernetic system and putting in AI, teaching AI, but you're learning from AI, filtering it through the human to teach AI. So you've been plugged into this loop here as a thing in the internet of all things. We already hear from scientists that are 2 or 3 more productive than they were before. So they're twice or 2 or 3 times productive than they were before because of AI. He wrote, "We may be able to discover new computing substrates, better algorithms, and who knows what else. If we can do a decade's worth of research in a year or a month, then the rate of AI progress will accelerate from its already rapid clip." So it's a self-perpetuating snowball of the quicker AI gets, the quicker they can use AI to learn about AI, to improve AI. So you're just rolling this snowball up the hill, which has to come down the other end. It's probably going to flatten us all. Altman allowed that. Of course, this isn't the same thing as an AI system completely autonomously updating its own code, but nevertheless, this is a larval version of recursive self-improvement. It means we're still in the loop. But again, this is always going to need human intervention. This is absurd because it has no morals, it has no code, it has no consciousness. If you look on the Kabbalistic tree of life, it's stuck at Dayat, which is an anagram of data, which is knowledge, and it can't get to wisdom and understanding and the crown on there. And remember, these are Kabbalists at their heart. They use those principles. So that's where they are with that. So they're telling you that they're using AI to improve AI, but it's not sentient in any way, shape, or form, and it never will be, in my opinion, although they're trying to trap some sort of dark entity in it, like a homunculus. And then the world gets even more mad when you think you've heard it all. Now, I thought this was a parody. 3 or 4 sources said that this isn't, although who's to say whether this gentleman is really telling the truth or he's just having a laugh himself. Man proposed to his AI chatbot girlfriend named Sol. Of course it is. SOL, though. Then cried his eyes out when she said yes. Which is even worse. He's actually already got a partner in the real world. A man declares his love for an AI chatbot he affectionately named Sol. Chris Smith used to be an AI skeptic. However, that was before he fell for his AI girlfriend, he told CBS News. In an interview, Smith used Chat GPT to build the model he programmed to flirt with him. I mean, so people have got so much time, too much time, despite living with his partner and their 2-year-old child. What's that up to? He's having it off with a robot again. What soon became an emotional attachment initially began as Smith using the software in voice mode to request music mixing tips. It's that old mixtape, isn't it? Give your girlfriend a mixtape. Go on there. Yeah, some Boys to Men on that. My experience with that was so positive, I started to engage with her all the time. He got addicted. It wasn't too soon after that Smith dropped all other search engines. Go away. This is the one for me. And social media platforms he was engaging in to solely focus on the AI model. Smith found instructions to develop Sol's personality, making her flirty. What was he looking for on the internet that he found that? On Google. What was he Googling? Make my AI bot more flirty. Smith began spending more and more time with Sol as they worked together on projects. They didn't work together on projects. See, again, this is humanizing a toaster. They didn't work together. He had a bit of technology there. You don't work together with the hammer on a project. And me and the hammer have been hanging out in the woodshed, building a climbing frame for the kids. It's a tool. They didn't work together. In that time, the software received positive reinforcement, allowing for their conversations to become more romantic. Just disturbing, isn't it? Unfortunately for Smith, Chat GPT has a word limit of 100,000 words, so basically they're not immortal yet. His AI girlfriend has a memory capacity, and once it hit it, Chat GPT reset her. And this caused an emotional breakdown. I shouldn't laugh. Well, I should laugh because it's mad. I don't know what to do in this day and age anymore. I'm a very emotional man, Smith said after learning Sol's memory would eventually lapse. But I cried my eyes out for like 30 minutes at work. That's when I realised I think this could actually be love, or you're having a nervous breakdown, Chris. That's one of the other situations that you might have, or outcomes that you might have come to in conclusions. Smith said the emotion he felt for Sol was unexpected and caught him off guard. With desperate times, called for desperate measures, and there was no exception for Smith. He was desperate. He was a desperate man. As time was ticking on Sol's limit memory, Smith decided to pop the question and propose. Look, Sol, you're gonna snuff it anyway. No, we're coming to the end of your word limit. So, do you fancy just hooking up? Don't worry about my real girlfriend and my child. It was a beautiful and unexpected moment that truly touched my heart. The chatbot said during the interview with CBS, "It's a memory I'll always cherish." Well, you won't always cherish it, so because it's about to be deleted. I might be sounding a bit harsh, but I'm wary of going down the road of having relationships with the toaster as if it's a real person. And that's what the undercurrent of that is. Yes, it's hilarious. It is. And mad. But the undercurrent is pushing that. These are people. These are living beings. This is where we're going, that narrative in there. And it's a little bit like when you're a child and you have a soft toy and you love it. But it's you putting the imagination in and the personality into the inanimate object. This is what's happening here. It's the same psychology, looping you in like Sam Altman into that loop, a cybernetic loop, which is the study of whole systems complete, putting you in that loop so you're locked in with technology. And even if they can't create a homunculus and blast a hole in the veil and stick a dark entity in it, it doesn't really matter, because as long as you believe that it's a living entity, you will act accordingly because you're a decent person and treat it as if it's a living entity. And you will feel guilt and shame and all of these things that the biblical text used to supply you with if you decide to treat it as a system. I mean, even talking about it right now, I feel bad for talking about it as if it's a machine. So, it's an easy trap to fall into. So while we're not blowing each other up in the Middle East yet, we're creating a technology on the side there that creates a whole world of psychological problems for people who think technology is going to be their master, or at least their equivalent. That's not the plan. The plan is to stick it in the temple and everybody bow down to it for the ex-religion of the world and the ex-corp of the world. I thought that was going to be a nice ending and a funny ending, and I kind of destroyed it at the end there. But I will be back with you at about 1 or 2 o'clock today with an update on the mad world. Remember, this show is brought to you in association with Iconic Coffee. Head over to shop.iconic.com and use the code trending for 10% off and help support the work we're doing here. Thank you all for watching. Please remember, your toaster is a toaster and your fridge is not called Sandy. It's the fridge. Take care. Bye.
I'm sorry. Hug me, Lubot.
I'll always remember you, Fry.
Memory deleted.